There's no better way to explain my family than like anyone else's, except for my father, who raised me on crying is for girls and never let anyone beat you, and a mother who found enlisting in the Marine Corps made life easier to adjust to than a 5-year-old with the chicken pox. An older sister I've seen 4 times and haven't spoken to since I ran into her on 42nd Street in line for Godzilla in 1985. And another sister, raised in Puerto Rico to the echoes of, why couldn't your hair be more like your mother's? And in Vogue, yeah, they're pretty for some black girls. So I remained an only child in a house of cards I waited to be crushed by or paper cut to a slow death with. The fear of living in a house of cards is knowing the right gust of wind can paper cut you to death. When I was a kid, I wanted to be Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. Black and cool as fuck. Until I learned about my Uncle Pete, who died in Vietnam after the ammunition truck he was riding in exploded my grandmother's emotions all over her house. When I was 6, she made me promise her I'd never join the military. She says this country has never done anything for black men worth giving their lives for, and I agree. Then the Marines took my mother, so could you blame me for not trusting this country? Was confiscated a piece of my life without any of my help. How does a 6-year-old rationalize his mother leaving him at home to travel the world? At first, I thought it was cool. My mom was going to be like Jinx, or Scarlet, or Lady Jane in G.I. Joe. Only she was Puerto Rican, and didn't know how to cook, and couldn't be seen every day on TV. Then, I grew up, and relationships changed. My father, I want to tell him I miss him. I love him more than anything in the world, but I'm scared I have nothing else left to say. A fear felt since the day I left for a city with no seasons, a sign of the time frozen, but skipped over, hoping there are ways of just accepting things for how they are. Hardened by the routine of hardships growing up, sometimes the relationships between a father and son is lost when words that used to bond just become words used to bond. He says he's sorry for everything, and I could hear it in his voice, a shame acknowledged by the lack of eye contact. I could cry if I knew I'd feel better afterwards, like the day I saw my father cry for the first time. See, all superheroes have weaknesses, carefully camouflaged as idiosyncrasies, and the only superhero I knew made do with no job and a love for the only child he raised, whose strengths would soon succumb to the after effects of Vietnam's residue. I didn't realize how much emotion had been pushed to the side until I tried to explain it, like a stack of poems never finished or the closing of a chapter not read. My feelings are all cliche. I have no original reactions left, holding tear-spotted napkins, dotting my I's, crossing my T's, making sure I get each emotion right. My grandmother recently called to tell me next time I come over, we need to talk. And it finally hits me. At 88 years old, she's been around forever, but she's not going to live forever. She wants to let me know what's going to happen when she passes, and I don't want to think about the future, but I anticipate its destruction. See, in all my years on this planet, I've never witnessed someone in a box, lowered into the ground and then dedicated to the sky, so when I die, I want to be cremated, burning up all of my imperfections, and then have someone sprinkle what's left over some place I've never been to, in hopes of inspiring someone I will never know anything about.